Okay, so I said I was going to do a video about this. Many people don't understand my reasoning behind why I want to be alone. Probably because they don't know what that's like. So they could only assume that I'm wrong. No, you're wrong. We're trying to make somebody else conform to what you desperately want from, but they don't want that, so you're wrong. And you could tell yourself, well, they just don't know how to be happy. They just don't know how to be with somebody. And maybe you're right. To a certain measure, but to another measure, you're still wrong. So maybe I should take my own advice and stop thinking that people are miserable. All because all they do is stare at a screen. Maybe that's what they want. So I should stop all the pity. At least I'm no longer angry. For the most part. For the most part. When I hear my own hypocrisy, I gotta call it out. For fear that I'll be found out. I already found myself out. I already found myself out. People think they know me, but they only see a tiny ass smidgeon of what they think I've come to be. They didn't see me 10 years ago. They didn't see me 20 years ago. What do they know? What do they know? What do they know? What do they know? Well, I used to be a people pleaser, and then I realized I couldn't please anybody. And now I'm a people displeaser, cause I set boundaries, and they don't like that. And you'll figure out real fucking quick who's a... You know what I'm gonna say next. Narcissism runs rampant in a society that thinks it's their business. Everything's their business. I'm gonna talk about my sex life with anybody who will listen. I'm gonna tell you all about my so-called beliefs. Because I really want you to be impressed. And you being impressed will validate me. Validate me. Well, I don't care make it think it's total shit, total shit, total shit, total shit. I was trying to talk about codependency, and I just go off in all these different directions. Well, I don't think I've ever been codependent ever. So I really can't understand it whatsoever. But I will say this about it. If you're with somebody that consistently makes you feel like shit, that's a you problem. And you're probably not looking for much of a resolution, because you want to feel like shit. You want to get treated like shit. Probably because it reminds you of the original feeling. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. From what I've gathered, just watching people scramble, trying to please someone that's not worth it in the slightest. It's like I have this friend of mine. She's so miserable, man. She's like the most miserable person I've ever met. And she just very consistently chooses people that are abusive. Physically abusive, verbally abusive, emotionally abusive. And you know, she has a really shitty relationship with her mom. That's why I say narcissism always starts with the mom. Because she doesn't have a relationship with her dad at all. So if that explains her terrible selection. But, you know, every single time that her mom is around her, it's like her anxiety just is way worse. And moms tend to do that. They really bring out the anxiety. But I think that if we don't feel like a loving sincerity, like from our moms, like we're just gonna carry that into like all of our relationships, you know? They don't have to be romantic relationships. They could be friendships. But yeah, it's like, if you don't figure yourself out, and if you don't work on what's causing you to be codependent, it's like you will just continue to attract worthless sacks of shit, and you know, just fester in that. You know, it's like this friend of mine that I'm talking about. It's like every fucking day that I work with this bitch, she's just constantly complaining about the dude she's with. And now, you know, he makes all these unreasonable demands of her. But it's like she doesn't understand it. Like, she's the one that picked this motherfucker. And she's the one that chose to have a kid with him. That was fucking stupid. She thinks that having a kid is going to change the way he behaves. And when I talk about codependency, I'm not talking about people that are in a loving relationship, okay? That's not what codependency is. Codependency never involves something positive, okay? Codependent people typically don't know what's good for them because what would have been good for them in the beginning, they didn't have it. So because they have such a piss poor example of what a relationship's supposed to be, what love is supposed to be, it's like, yeah, they're going to continue to seek the same shitty treatment from a new person because they don't love themselves. Like, if you saw this girl, you totally understand. She's skinnier than me. She looks like shit. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but, like, she does not take care of herself at all. And she smokes cigarettes, she vapes, she fucking drinks those energy drinks all the time. So yeah, it's like, I say these things because I'm genuinely concerned for her health. And it's like I wore my seatbelt today, did you hear that? Once in a while. Well, it was also raining, so I figured that I should take extra precaution today. But yeah, man, it's like so sad when you see somebody that has some kind of potential, just throw it all away so they can stay in the same piss poor excuse of a relationship because they just don't know how to be alone. You know, she really doesn't. Like, we've had so many conversations about this, and you know, when we were just talking about it, she was like tearing up thinking about leaving this guy that is so verbally abusive. I've been around him enough times, and I mean, she's annoying as fuck, but just because somebody's annoying doesn't mean that you can verbally abuse them. You know? That's why a lot of these people are really pushing my boundaries. I don't know if they're doing it so that I break my character or something. I don't know if they're that deep. But yeah, man, it's just really sad that like people don't value themselves more. You know, if they just did a little bit of work on themselves, like they would be so much happier. But I guess they're afraid to take that first step because of what it might mean for them. You know, overall, they see it as a threat. But, you know, you can't change anybody. You can only change yourself. And really, that has to be with a lot of time and patience and discipline, and you know, most people just don't have that. I mean, they got plenty of time, but they don't have the patience or the discipline, so they're just kind of shit out of luck, you know. Anyway, gotta go to work. Bye.